All right, welcome. Welcome to Let's Talk. Sorry about yesterday, y'all, but watched the football game. It got a little late. I'm like, I'll pass. So I got some things that there's several things, and I just thought of something else I want to talk about. But let's see what you guys think. Give you some time to join. And if you have anything you want to talk about, let's hit it. Because there are some things, man, in this world that's interesting. And I don't know if I have a different take on things um, for certain reasons. I don't know. But I'm going to start with this. If you'll follow me any amount of time, and if you have watched The Locker 411, Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with myself and Anthony White, you will understand that I am not the biggest fan of Vince Morrow. And it's not that he didn't do a good job for us, but some of the things that, in my opinion, was heaped on his shoulders were some of the praises were too much. Gadget, the cast are doing pretty well, man. Some of the praise he was getting for recruits, to me, exceeded what really happened. And here's the thing: I don't know 100% what happened, but I was recruited, and even though you have a recruiting coordinator, and even though that guy sometimes closes the deal, dots the I, crosses the T, so to speak, the position coach is so important. And if there's no synergy with you and the position coach, I don't care how good of a closer your recruiting coordinator is, it ain't gonna happen. For me, my situation wasn't even the position coach. I liked the position coach at another institution, but the head coach said some stupid shit in front of me and my parents. So that was a so it's more than just the recruiting coordinator. And he was heaped a lot of praise because of guys we received or came into Lexington. Does he deserve credit? You damn right he does. Does he deserve a lot of credit? Damn right he does. But it was a point where he was receiving all the credit. And that's not needed. So, with that said, this is the part that is going to be the difference maker in this. Even though I don't believe in all the praise Vince got, Vince has been Vince since day one. And here's the thing that bothers me. Apparently, UK fans, what's up, JD? UK fans are upset at Vince for being Vince. It's the same thing I've said when Vince and Stoops were at Jeff Ruby's, and it was like a great thing because they were chilling with the people and blah blah blah. As long as they were winning. Once they start losing, that luster kind of wore off. It's the same thing with Vince at Louisville. One thing I can say that I like about Vince in this situation is he's being himself. This is nothing. It's the same damn Vince that was here. The only difference was we were on the other side of Vince's tweets. And if someone came at him, you loved it. Oh, he's defending Kentucky. Oh, look. It was all beautiful. It was all great. It was all wanted when he was coaching for us. Now, he does go to the rival, so it stings even more. But the thing about it, you can't expect him to be anything but himself. What's up, PLG? You cannot expect him to be anything but himself. And he's consistent. That's the one thing I can say about him. He's consistent. When he was with Stoops, he heaped a lot of praise onto Stoops. He's the best coach in this. He's blah, blah. He's this and that. And now he's with Braun. He's doing the same thing. I know, JD. I'm just pointing it out. Here's the thing. It's the same thing. He's heaping praise on the guy who is employing him. When he got in with it with the was Nocta, I don't know, I'm not pronouncing that. That's the same thing he used to do when he's with us. So I have no problem with Vince doing what he's doing. I don't. It's just like the Bears with Ben Johnson saying F the Packers. It ain't like the Packers have not said stuff to the Bears. It's the exact same thing. When you are in a rivalry situation, but also when a guy leaves your situation, you have to respect him for not changing. I would say this. I might respect him more now than I respected him when he was at UK because it takes a lot of self-confidence and comfort in your own skin to be less than 80 miles away with a school rival that you once were at and to still be yourself and not try to suck up to the school that you once were at. He did not take the gloves off. The gloves went from blue gloves to red gloves. That's it. He supports his team. That's all you can ask for. Now, it's the same thing here. I was like, man, some of the stuff he's saying is when I was with him on the same team, I'm like, dude, this is stuff you same thing Louisville. It's probably stuff he shouldn't say. But he's doing the same thing. And because of that, I respect him. I do. It doesn't just because I don't think he should have received all the praise he was getting when he was at Kentucky, doesn't mean I don't respect him. What his job is, he does it well. There's no doubt about it. He does his job well. Only thing for me is when he was here, he was getting too much credit. And that's it. I think right now, he's where he should be. He shouldn't be on the field coach. He should be in the recruiting GM, whatever this new thing college football has created. That's where he should be, and he should have every right to applaud and be grandiose and be an asshole to the people he recruiting against, because that's how he was here. And if you are a fan of Kentucky and you expect him to be different towards Kentucky, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Because how would you expect him to do that now because he's not in the Joe Kraft building? It makes no sense to me. So for me, I think that is that's a, as Steven said, it's good for the rivalry. That too. No doubt about it. It is I I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Gadget, I wish he was with his new group of coaches we have now. He made his choice. Gadget, see, here's the thing. This is what people don't. I don't understand it being a problem. For one, BBN got tired of the old regime. He was part of the old regime. He got out at the best time. Just like Stoops was trying to get out the year prior. Big Dog was like, shit. I think this ship is sailed. It's time for me to get out. Now, what you can say is he went to the wrong school. But damn it, was it not when Big Dog has been flirting? He flirted with Michigan State when God, what's the guy's name? Was there when Jeff Brom first got to Louisville? He was flirting with them then. So the charge has nothing to do with the hypocrisy that some of our fans are showing. I don't know a better word than hypocrisy, but that's the best word. That's the best word I can come up with. Speaking of hypocrisy, boy, this is JD. If you still here, the Mike Tomlin thing bothers me. Gadget, I don't think the staff would have kept Big Dog. I'm not big coaches about relationships. Big Dog doesn't have a relationship with Will Stein. Big Dog's personality. Big Dog is like Cam Newton. Personality might be too big for the situation. And I'm not sure that connection would have worked. So look, man, as I've heard, speaking of Mike Tomlin, as I heard, like a guy been in a certain place now for a certain amount of time is not a good thing. And here's the thing with me about Mike Tomlin. We're talking about the NFL. We're talking about a coach that has never finished below 500. Some people say, well, those are mediocre years. Look at the damn history of the NFL and see how many teams that are not consistently, what, this 18, 17 years of him as coach? And how many teams been 500 better for that span of time? It's not normal. The other thing that I hear, and I know JD is a fan, I know as a fan, it's a sore spot. He hasn't won a playoff game since, what, 10 years ago? Let me pull this up. So I can get. Right. They haven't won a playoff game since 2018. They haven't won a playoff game since 2018. They lost 4 wildcard games in a row. You know how many teams would like to be in that situation of being in the playoffs and losing the game? Do you know how many players on the team would like that extra game check? To talk about this guy in the manner that some people have talked about him is crazy. You're talking about consistency. 7 playoff games in a row. Huh. Well, I mean, 9 in a row. JD, what are you? They lost in the division round in 2017. They lost in the conference championship in 2016. Lost division 2015. Wild card in 2014. They didn't make the playoffs in 18-19. 2016 last. Okay, yes. All right. To me, for it's interesting that him making to the playoffs, what, 10 out of 17 years? Does that sound about right, JD? Did he make it to the playoffs 10 out of 17? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, you're right, JD. I'm missing on one this year. They lost a wild card. You're right. So come on, man. Like JD is saying, and that's why stats to me are misleading. He's 0-7 in the last playoff, but he made it to the playoffs. They made it to the playoffs. It's a 32 team league. And what? Now, how many teams make it now? You had two, like, how many teams make it now? 8, 12? It was less when he was in his heyday, but how many teams make it now? 2, 4, 6. So 14 teams make it. And it used to be 2 less, right? But whatever. 14 out of 32. And now making the playoffs but losing the first round makes it bad. 24 teams? There's 14 teams that make the playoffs, Joe. How you get 24? 7 teams from the AFC, 7 teams from the NFC. I'm counting this, man. See, but now JD as a fan is gonna say, but they lost those games by a certain amount of points. But JD, you were in the playoffs. As a Bear guy. As a Bear guy. How many times have we made the playoffs in that same time? Let me see. Since Tomlin was coach in 2007, Tomlin's first year. The Bears since 2007. 2007, the Bears have been in the playoffs like 3 times, according to this. JD. You're right, JD. The standard is standard. The Bears have been to 4 playoffs, counting this year. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seasons of under 500. Not even 500 under. Under 500. Tomlin has never been under 500. And as like JD said, it's probably time to separate. I totally understand that. NFL, there's a lot more at play. There's the GMs getting certain players. He has to coach the players that he's given. So for the rhetoric of some, I'm not saying everybody, y'all. I'm just saying when I hear negativity, boy, it perks my ears up. Some of the things I've heard about Mike Tomlin, man, is just ridiculous. And for the Steelers, from Chuck Noll to Bill Cowher to Mike Tomlin. Exactly, JD. They front office and GM sucks. So for Tomlin to get to that point and him to be the fall guy and for the things to be said about him by some, it's ridiculous. You talking about a level of consistency that we haven't seen in a long time. When things look bad at the beginning of the season, he somehow gets those guys together and get them to at least be 500 or better. As a vet told me my first week of being at the Bears' new facility, because I was there. I was, I think, the first class that got to the new facility. Veterans told me there is, and at this time, they were playing 16 games. There is a thin line between being 4-12 and 12-4. And as I played that season out in 1997, guess what our record was? 4-12. And guess what? It was a thin line between really being 12-4 and 4-12. Some injuries, some plays going our way. It could have flipped like that. But it didn't. We were battling between playing Eric Kramer and what's the damn quarterback that played in Notre Dame? That was at Seattle. And Wannstedt wasn't, in my opinion, a great leader of men. Great defensive coordinator though. That he was a defensive genius, but getting in front of groups, leading a group, no. Who was the other? Todd? No, it's not Todd. Who's the other quarterback? Gonna bother me. Eric Kramer and Rick Meyer. We had that battle. Meyer. They took the first round draft pick, traded Seattle, and that was a battle. And EK to me, Eric Kramer, that's what we call him. EK to me was the better option, but they put the front office, the GM, which the Bears have a GM. I don't know who was the person who made it to pull the trigger. They pulled the trigger on Rick Meyer, and it became a problem. And to me, that quarterback dynamic was one of the reasons why we was 4-12 and not 12-4. If they would have played EK from jump, EK had the locker room, blah, blah, blah. So for me, those decisions affect the coach. And Mike Tomlin has not had a dependable quarterback since Big Ben. And whose fault is that? That's on the GM. And to try to get an Aaron Rodgers who's on the back end of his career was a big mistake, especially to see what he did with the Jets. But whose fault is that? That's the GM in the front office. But I understand. Tomlin's been there forever. Just like here. Sometimes hiring a new coach creates some new energy. And NFL, it's easier to turn a season. It's easier to flip a season than it is in college. So can they? I would say this, but with the current office people in the building, I'm not sure if it's as changeable as it would be if they hired a new GM. Now the thing is, let's see them do their due diligence. JD, they had Lamar Jackson slip to them in the twilight of Big Ben's career. Passed on, took a safety who didn't. Okay. That's a good one, JD. That's a good one. But JD, here's the thing. They were not the only one that passed on LJ. That's the thing, man. That is a good one though. That could have propelled them for sure. Maybe Bill Cowher didn't want him. Well, no, what it was still Tomlin. Who didn't want him? You're right. That didn't make any sense. That didn't make any sense. So JD, if Tomlin had Lamar Jackson, he might have won another Super Bowl. That is now JD's got me interested and what happened in that draft because I don't remember it now because that's been years ago. I'm I bet you were, JD. Well, JD, did you really want a Louisville quarterback leading your team? See this? See, that's why JD is a good fan. Is that it didn't matter to him. 2018. Who were the quarterbacks? I know I'm gonna go in order. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. That wasn't Josh Allen. That's a pretty good draft. Josh Rosen. Wow. Then it went all the way to Lamar, huh? 32 Lamar, end of the first round. Steelers could have picked him up at 28. Terrell Edmonds was wait. JD, Terrell Edmonds was a pretty damn good safety in college, though. I understand that he didn't pan out with the Steelers. Whom was he slated to replace, JD? Because I'm gonna just tell you, looking at 2018, I understand that a little bit. I do understand that. Not saying it was the best choice, but I do understand that. Baltimore Ravens just made a better play. But 31 teams, 31 slots passed up on. I don't know who. Some teams could have picked twice. But 31 slots. Wasn't Minka later? No, 7 years ago. Damn. 2018. Let's see. It could be, JD. Because that does make sense. Minka was picked in 2018. Minka was in the same draft. Minka was pick 11 in the same draft, so it's not here. I mean, not PLG. It wasn't Minka. I don't know who it was, but that JD, I hear you. Hindsight 2020, but Terrell Edmonds was a damn good safety in college. So I want to be with you, JD. Oh, JD. So come on. You really I understand. How many years did Big Ben play after that? Big Ben. So that was 2018. Big Ben played until 2021. DJ, so now we need a safety, but Lamar. Big Ben numbers did go down. But all right, here's what I'm gonna tell you, JD. But in 2018, Big Ben had his best year. I'm just saying. He had his best year. 5,100 yards passing. But I get you. I know hindsight now says yes. They should have picked up their backup, especially for the cost it would have been at 32 compared to trying to pick one up at 1. No, JD, you knew he was going to be done after 2. The front office thought they had a few more in him. You knew he was done after 2. I don't know, man. That's a lot of that goes around. Like, what if this team would have picked this player and they let him slide? But I'm just saying, it makes sense, but I understand. I get you, JD, but I understand. I understand the why. I understand why they did go with Terrell Edmonds. Oh, that's you. That's true. Forget about AB. About AB Ben, yeah. And this is the thing, y'all. Speaking of it, is like, see this, like even the locker Wednesdays, the locker 411 Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Either way we do it there, we do our show and it's very, we don't prepare. It's just a conversation, just like JD and I having conversations here now. And it's got me thinking, man. This is one thing that it gets me riled up with social media a little bit, and it's crazy because I think about this just like we're having this conversation now. When I don't know, I would say in the black barbershop, as I got of age, I realized why my dad got his haircut at night and why he was there for 3 hours, sometimes longer. Is because one thing, the barber is not cutting hair because he's talking too much because of all of the the information that's the conspiracy theories that's flying around. And I loved it as a kid because now I'm learning something like whoa, 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 like just pinging through, like everybody, some people yelling, then they gotta leave because they're getting upset. Then they come back and it was great, man. Going into the black barbershop as they do on Coming to America was amazing. It was like you couldn't, for me, until a certain point where I reached where I was starting to go out a little more, where I went first thing in the morning because I didn't want to be there at night because I want to go do something. But for a lot of my adolescent year, it was awesome. My dad would go at like on a Friday at 5 or 6, and we'll stay there to 10 o'clock, just chumming it. And I was right there chumming it with him. Oh, what's the little lip boy got to say? And they'll let me talk, right? You know what was great about that? You know what was the best thing about that? In life, the best thing about some of these things that are said in those situations is it stayed in house. You know why? Because we didn't have any way of recording it. I mean, I guess you could have had the money to buy a camera. All that stuff was in house. It stayed in house. The players, coaches, institutions. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. This is one. The reason why I despise LSU, and I'm gonna get. I think the guy's name. If you remember a quarterback from LSU named Tommy Hodson. Tommy Hodson was the hot thing. No pun intended. Tommy Hodson was highly recruited. And we had a guy, a black kid from Thibodaux, Louisiana. I think his last name was Valentine, because that's the first thing that comes to mind. His name was, I know it's something Valentine. And in the black community, we thought, whoo, this guy is legit. On TV all the time in high school, like, man. And he goes to LSU. And the history of Louisiana with the racism, we was like, why would he go to LSU? You know he's not going to play, right? You know he's not. Why? And guess who was a coach at the time? It's Mike Archer. I've never brought this up to him because I love Mike Archer because he's coached me, and he's the reason why I went to Kentucky. So I never brought it up. But my dad was so pissed. And if you know my dad is one of the best men ever. He is composed, he's kind, all the great qualities you'll want a man to have, he possesses them. And I have literally, in my 50 years, have seen that man get upset like 2 or 3 times. And one of them was when Valentine didn't win a starting. when Valentine didn't win the starting quarterback position in fall camp over Tommy Hodson. And because of that, I despise LSU. We were Southern University people. We went to all the Southern games until I started playing games on Saturday, playing football. But we went to home and away. Wherever Southern University traveled, we were there. So I became a Southern fan, but LSU was bit on them. And it all traces back to, God, I wish I remember the guy's first name. Valentine not getting the starting spot over Tommy Hodson. I don't think he ever played a down for LSU. I despise LSU. But you know what's so great about that? Is not too many people know that besides my dad and I. But nowadays, the barbershop has gone to social media. And some of the things that are said, like Mike Tomlin, like Vince Morrow, like people trolling, like people feeling the freedom to say stuff that you said with your boys in the barbershop, which was fine. Because the person whom you were attacking wasn't in the room. The person who you was talking negative towards has no idea you were talking negative about him. You know what's even more? That guy's kids and wife, even the other way, that lady husband and her kids had no idea. That was the great thing, man, back in the day about sports, is you can carry on and carry on and carry on, but no one would ever hear it. Even the sports radio stations, like when I was with the Bears, I really liked listening to sports radio. Just to have an ear to what people believe or thought, right? Even with that, it took a special kind of person to call into sports radio to vent. It took a different kind of human being to call to a radio station and spew out stuff about their local team, local coach, front office, etc. It took a special person. It wasn't as much as now. Now everybody just got crazy fingers. And with the Tomlin and the Vince thing, and with the lay reporter in Jacksonville, like you just never, first of all, get the whole story. Second of all, no one is taking into account how many people are affected. Trust me, I understand. I say a lot of shit about Kentucky football and Kentucky football players. A lot of stuff that I would not tweet it on Twitter or whatever. Now, if you watch my breakdowns, I might complain about a play, but I'm not calling guys out in public where anyone can hear it. Now, I go in a group chat. I go with Anthony White offline. I go with other former teammates I have offline. We are chumming up, blah, 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 blah. This person sucks. I can't believe this guy's. I do it. I call some people bums. I say if we can't win with people, I say that, but I would never say that to where someone can hear it and it affects more than just them. And I know this is not the first time it's been said. I know this is just like, I know I've said it before, but sometimes we need to be cognizant of some of the things that we're saying. And then some people are calling like Big Dog being sensitive and maybe going overboard, whatever. When you attack somebody, when you attack somebody online, and I can't ever get to see you because I don't know who you are, that person might come out of character. They might come out, they might do, they might say, they might spew some things that they shouldn't say. Just like Big Dog might have gone overboard today. But when he said something and the vitriol that the trollers came with, even though y'all loved it when he was here, I understand how he can be affected by it. I understand. I'm not saying it's right because it's one thing I learned as I got older. Because if you would have caught me 20 years ago, I'd be the same way. On Facebook, I was, and then I learned that it's not beneficial to anyone because I'm not changing anybody else's opinion. They definitely not changing mine. So I stopped doing it. I stopped going back and forth with people because it's just a waste of time. But it's just something that today with the Mike Tomlin and Vince thing, dude, it's been out of hand, but it hit me more today because it hit the fans that I like. And we got out of control because I think some of us saw that we got under Big Dog skin. And I get it because I'm one of those people. I'm still one of them, but I used to really be one of them. When I know I got you, I'm going. You're gonna hate me. When I know I got you off your square, it is cutting season. I didn't hear it either, PLG. I don't listen too much radio, be honest with you. My day is spent. I have my what I would call it, my roster of podcasts that I listen and hear to. I don't listen I don't listen to any sports anymore. Um at all. And I'm a big clip guy. I watch some clips. If the clip is interesting, then I'll go watch or listen to some of get the true context what was said. But the most thing, I don't watch a lot of. I don't listen to a lot of sports people because sports people piss me off. Because I'm just gonna be honest. I know enough about sports that I don't need to hear a lot of people angle because I think my angle's better than theirs. Oh, so I tend to stick away from. I haven't watched an ESPN in forever. I'll say this: since 2020, I have not watched or listened to much sports stuff. Like even when I watch, and this prior to 2020, prior to COVID, but I have for the majority of my adult life since leaving college, I have the sports that I know: football, basketball, track. Track I tend to listen a little bit more sometimes because I don't know all the athletes. But football, basketball, that TV is on mute. It's on mute. Even with Dickie V and them, the old when Dickie V was younger, mute because it just bothers me some of the stuff. It's like here's the worst thing for me, especially in football, is I'm watching this game live. And I know that you have a monitor in your box, and I know you have binoculars to watch the thing. And it's plain as day that that penalty was a holding penalty on such and such, and you are saying it's something else. And you have a guy in your ear that's spotting and helping you get information, and you don't see it. It bothers me to the nth degree. Then he said, I watched more ESPN today than I have in 10 years, and I kind of regret after hearing some of the tape. Why you watching ESPN today, JD? What made you? Is it the portal stuff? See that? I'm gonna say, y'all. I know nothing about the portal, and be honest with you, this is the part that gets me a little bit. Is let this shit play out, and I know Stein is the hot ticket, and we got rid of guys that y'all got tired of. But a lot of these guys that are in the portal, I have no idea about. I got you, JD. That makes sense. I have no idea about. I really don't. Like the Baxter kid from Texas. He played at Texas. He was recruited by Texas and probably some other big schools. But he wasn't a starter. It's like the Moore kid that they said they're going to Colorado. It's not like we're getting verified starters and we know whom they are and we're hoping that they replicate what they did at their last school. We don't know. So for me to get excited about guys whom are not certified dogs, they were great high school players. They were on some good teams. They signed to a traditional powerhouse. Totally get it. It doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna come here and dominate. It doesn't mean that they won't. I hope they do. But I'm not gonna get all because it's like the Minchie quarterback for Notre Dame. Like the positive spin you can put on is he was apparently very close to win the starting position this year. But in the end of the day, he didn't. How do we know what we're going to get? It's like we had Will Levis, we had Brock Vandagriff. One of them panned out, the other one didn't. So you don't know. One of them, the one who didn't pan out, was a higher rated high school quarterback. You just don't know, y'all. So for me, I like what we're doing. The most important thing for me, or not the most important, the best thing that I see out of all this is that the majority of these guys, 90% or more of these guys, have multiple years. And I think that's a great thing. Because you don't have to redo it every year. We got a lot of freshmen, redshirt sophomores that have a chance to set some great footing in Lexington and hopefully win some games. The 5-star didn't pan out exactly. The 3-star running back from Penn State was a star. It adds up, man. Also, the 3-star running back or quarterback also had one of the best receivers in Kentucky football history throwing the ball to. So, we'll see. There is definitely a new vibe from what I'm getting from fans. I'm not in Lexington, so I don't know what the vibe is like in the office. I'm extremely happy, being biased that they kept Coach Stu. That's from a biased point. And let's see what they can do. It's gonna be interesting. I'm not Sam Green's gonna do work. I hope so, PLG. Integrate OC. JD, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna always say this. Is when you got a young head coach that's an OC, he should get a top 5 list of quarterbacks, and he's gonna definitely get one of those. He should get one of those 5. Really, I'm gonna say top 3, but I'm gonna extend it to top 5 because we're at Kentucky. We should get one of those 3 to 4. Because I want y'all to understand, even with Hal Mumme, Tim Couch was already there. Dusty Bonner wasn't a high recruit. And Jared Lorenzen was from the state of Kentucky. Even with that offense, we couldn't get any quarterback we wanted. I just want people to think about that. Kentucky fans around Lexington are saying, "Get your season tickets now because they're not going to be there later." Hey, man, that is a great thing, and I hope fans, don't do him like they did Stoops. PLG, but Mummy didn't have Andre. Hope they don't do him like they did Pope this year. They give Pope 1 year. The next year they're like, he gotta go. Oh man, I hope they give Stein the time that he needs, and that might be 3-4 years. It might not. Like, here's the thing. Here's the thing that's hit me. Like, everybody talks about Kirk Cignetti. Let me do a little research. Kirk Cignetti, right? Kirk Cignetti. Let me see who were the new coaches in last year class. So that would have been 24, right? 24 season? Because 2024. Let's see how many new head coaches there were. All right. So I got a list of prominent head coaches. So you had Kirk Cignetti, right? You had Willie Fritz. I love Willie Fritz. Yo. I love Willie Fritz. That's my dude. You had Jed Fish, Brett Brennan, Jonathan Smith, Mike Elko, Sharon Moore, Kalen DeBoer. So those are the big high profile. So look, guys, only one guy in that list did something special. So if you think it's easy being the next Kirk Cignetti, how about being a new Sharon Moore who's gone? How about Elko took this year? Jonathan Smith is gone. Brett Brennan, is he still there? Fish is doing well at Washington, and Willie Fritz is a dude. He's a dog. But not only one of those guys in Kalen. Kalen took over Alabama, though. Two of those guys out of those 3, 6, 8. Two of them are fired. Is Brennan fired? Because he might be fired. No, he's still head coach. So don't think it's just easy. Oh, here goes JD with Pittsburgh native. Just don't think that, everybody's doing the Kirk Cignetti route. Come on, man. It'd be crazy. Would not be the Steelers' MO to hire a 60-plus-year-old, but maybe he wins a title. JD, that wouldn't be a bad hire. I just don't think Kirk is a NFL coach, though. I heard from Luckett and Rouse says that Bateman is going to run a 4-2-5. That's why all the DBs have committed. What is your take? Can it work in SC? Speak to me, Van. Give me your defensive mind opinion. It depends on. So basically, Michael, is just nickel defense. You gotta have that down safety to be a dude. Now, the reason why you can do that defense more now is because teams run the spread. So there are not many teams that are just running downhill. Marlon McCree would be perfect now, dude. I'm gonna just say somebody else who would be perfect now would be me. Move me into safety. Maybe let me play nickel, guard the slot, and play the run. Somebody else would be good. There are a lot of people I play with that would be good in that position. I'll just say this: that fifth defensive back who's playing nickel better to be that dude. Because if not, I'm running to him all the time. Now, there's ways you can cover him up in your scheme, but I'm finding him. And he better be able to cover a slot. He better be able to cover, man. Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. Boy, getting into a tangent. Here's the thing, Michael. Michael said, yeah, Michael. Here's the thing. This is the thing that scares me. Melvin JD wouldn't play well in this time. Melvin wasn't good at covering. I would say this all the time, man. I love Melvin to death, but with Melvin, man, you had to be on your P's and Q's as a corner. The best safety I played with was Reggie Rusk because he had unbelievable range and it allowed you to be a little more aggressive. Melvin, whew, it could be a problem in a passing game. But when I played, it was I back, so people was running downhill, so he was amazing. Uh, but that 4-2-5, man, I don't know. I I played in a 4-3 my whole life, and I am a big fan of the 3-4. I'm a huge fan of the 3-4. And the reason why I'm a huge fan of the 3-4 is because the offense has no idea where that fourth guy is coming from. See, in a 4-3, you know you're gonna have a 1-3, a 5, and a 6-7, whatever. When you run a 3-4, you know you have a 0 and 2 4 eyes in theory. But you have 2 outside linebackers. You don't know how we're gonna roll it. Like for me, even when we had Josh Allen, it kind of morphed into to an even man front because Josh put his hand in the ground a lot. But then when Josh put his hand, if you remember the Florida game in Florida, had his hands in the ground, but then he dropped in coverage. That's confusing. That's confusing to everybody, not only the quarterback to the offensive line. So for me, if I was running a defense now in college, I think it's easier to find athletic linebackers because you remember Ofari was actually a linebacker, outside linebacker. You can transition. Now they're gonna not have the size, but I think I would rather play 3-4 than a 4-3 nowadays. Um, gives you a lot of flexibility, more than a 4-3 does. So that's what I would do. The 4-2-5, I think that's probably the base, but I think they're gonna be multiple. I don't know if they're gonna every play line up in nickel, 4-3 nickel. We'll see. I don't know. For me, that's why I love Brad White so much. Is he morphed his scheme to the talent he had. It was all the 3-4, but it it was multiple. Do you think they will have issues of finding a true defensive end for the 4-2-5? Stupid Risen came in with a 4-3, then had to switch because it's hard to find a defensive end every year to play that. Did Stoops start with a 4-3? Saxon, that's been so long ago. I'm gonna have to trust you. I will say this. Watching high school football now, I don't know. I think you can find a long defensive end. Uh, it's harder to find a defense. I would say, honestly, Saxon, I would say it's harder to find a jack linebacker than it is to find a defensive end. Yeah, but Saxon, Bud played more. You know what? And that's the problem, Saxon, and that's why it looks like a 4-3. Bud was really Josh Allen. But Bud just had his hands in the ground a lot because we were able to do it. But Bud also dropped into coverage. See, in a 4-3, that defensive end is not dropping the coverage. But in a 3-4, you can put that jack linebacker and allow him to put his hands in the ground if he likes to rush from there. But there's a lot of jack linebackers who stand in a 2-point stance and rush or drop into coverage. So I think it's easier, honestly, finding guys who put their hands in the ground than it is to find a off-ball linebacker. Not really off-ball, but as they would call off-ball, as a outside linebacker that can play 5 or 7 tech. I think it's hard. Isn't that a zone blitz in a 4-3, or have I just played too many video games? Isn't that a zone blitz in a 4-3? Yeah, so that's the thing, right? Here's fundamental 3-4. 3-4 has a nose, which is a 0. And if you head up on each lineman, head up on the guard is 2, is a 2 tech. Head up on the tackle is a 4 tech. So if a 3-4 has a guy over the center and 2 guys over the tackle, that's what a 3-4 is. Just think of that as the foundation. Now, a 4-3 usually will have a 1 tech. So now 4-3 is more gaps. 4-3 have a 1 tech, which is the gap between the center and the guard. They have a 3 tech, which is the gap between the guard and the tackle. Then they have a 5, which is outside of the tackle. Then they have, depending on the tight end or not, if you have a 5 that's outside, if you just have 2 tackles, you have a 5. If you have a tight end, he might line up wider, which will put him as a 7. So it depends. But 3-4 is, think of 3-4's head up on lineman, and a 4-eye means that defensive tackle, defensive end is lined up on the inside eye of the tackle. So if you think about it, I know now visually, if you don't know football or you don't know gaps, if the tackle and end are lined up on the inside eye of the tackle, right? In theory, the guards have straight shots to the 2 inside linebackers. However, with the tackle and defensive end lined up inside the tackle, they have an immediate advantage over the tackle if those guards go straight out to the linebacker, because I have leverage inside, right? If I'm inside eye for you on you and the ball snap and the guard doesn't touch me, I can go straight into that B gap. I also have an outside linebacker on the outside of me, right? So that defensive end, a tackle can spill it, and there's nobody there to block the outside linebacker. So there's just so many. For me, I would rather go 3-4. If you have some good defensive end, 4-3 is the way to go. If you have guys who are defensive ends and they can only put their hands in the ground and they are not good in coverage, 4-3 will be the best way. But there are some good defensive ends. If I have a good defensive end who is great in space, who can also put his hand in the ground like a Josh Allen, but it's also great in space, I will go 3-4. I'll make that at super athletic defensive end that might have played linebacker in high school. That'll be, yeah. Let's just say he might have played linebacker in high school, put some weight on him. I will go 3-4. I think 3-4 is the hardest to game plan for as an offensive coordinator because you don't know where people are coming from. You just don't. You can do so. You can be more exotic in a 3-4 than you can be in a 4-3. That's it. Was John Henderson at UT when you played? I don't know John Henderson. PPLG, here's the thing, man. That's where we go back to again. John Henderson was probably a lineman, I'm guessing. And back in the day, I only knew the people whom I was playing against. I didn't know no offensive lineman, no defense. Like, I didn't know. John Henderson was a defensive lineman. I knew he would be. John Henderson looks like he's 47. He might have been a freshman when I was at Kentucky. Possibility 3-4 or creating different blitz package to confuse the O-line is what makes it great with the right person. Exactly. The NFL keeps moving to more athletic also linebacker than Michael Porson. Henderson was 2000, 2005, JD said. Here's the thing, man. Here's the toughest thing about the 3-4 to me is most people say it's finding outside linebackers. I understand why they're saying that because you got to be able to bend and be, and it is a kind of a unicorn kind of player. But for me, the toughest thing is to find two dogs that inside linebacker. That to me is the problem because there are people who can come up on you very quickly. In the 4-3, you have one Mike linebacker, and you can get away with that because all the gaps are filled. Right? It's hard for one of those guards to get a clean shot at you. So JD said 98 to 2001. Yeah, I was going in 96, so he was definitely 2 years after me. That's the difference is finding two elite. I think it's harder to find two elite inside linebackers. I really do. Inside linebackers a motherfucker, man. It's tough. And I can only imagine it being in college how tough it is. Now, it goes back to this, y'all. What did I watch today? Let me try to jog my memory about people. Oh, Bynard for the Bears, and Baldy was breaking down a play, and Bynard was like, "No, I had it because this is what I was doing. I was deking the quarterback and looking like I was playing to the hash more. But if they would have thrown that seam route, I would have definitely had it because I knew what they were going to do." So, for me, your inside linebackers have to be intelligent. If they're not, you're going to have a problem. 4-man front, you really don't need as many true defensive linemen as opposed to 3-man. I think for me, the odd man front, the 3-4, you need a special guy for those 4 eyes. Those 3 linemen have to be dogs because they have to command a double team. If they don't command a double team, those guards can easily get up on the linebackers, and it's tough sledding. But if you have, it all starts with the nose. If that nose requires that guard to chip, one of them linebackers is going to eat all day. Now, if you have a nose and one of those 4 eyes that has to be double teamed, now it's easy sledding for both them linebackers. Danny T was the inside linebacker. If you have 2 dogs on that defensive line, that 3-4 is going to eat teams alive. If you don't have a dog at nose, you're going to get eaten alive. And you can have a great dog as that 4-eye, but you need a dog at the nose. You need good players outside. I want people to understand Josh Allen is a great talent. Quinton Bohanna doesn't get enough accolades. He is what made that defense run. He pushed the pocket. He demanded a double team. Y'all, no slight to Jones and Cash Daniels. But I'm going to say this. If you ranking linebacker tandems, they were not close to being the top linebacker tandems in the Stoops era. Barnes going to be a dog at. That's the thing, JD. And can he stay healthy? Trevin Wallace was a dog because of Derek Jackson. Once I want people to go back and look. That year could have been special if Trevin Wallace stayed healthy. That year could have been special because that was a year where you had a solid Mike and you had Trevin. If you remember, if you watched the first 2 to 3 games before Trevin got hurt, he was allowed to just beat Trevin. So we'll see, man. We'll see. JD said Barnes gonna be a dog. Well, you need a thumper to be next to him. The Wayne and Cardle, Kentucky has been having some really good linebackers last year. Stoops, dude, this year was our worst linebacker group. The worst linebacker group. We have had some good ones. Shit. I'll say this. If Oates didn't have his issue, that DeAndre Square Oates one would have been probably the best in the SEC. But Damon Davis made hay that year and got to be a first round draft pick. So, all right, y'all. That's an hour. We're going to try to keep this thing. I'm going to try to keep it, y'all, between 30 minutes and an hour. I feel confident that I can go 30 minutes. But if we go like this and we get good questions, we go hour, we're going to capitalize an hour. Square is my favorite Stoops era player. Square and then Steven Johnson. 1, 2. All right, y'all. Again, B-Style17 on Twitter, on the TikToks, and on Twitch. Driving with Styles on YouTube. LA Bluegrass on Instagram. LA Bluegrass. Man, I did have a Cash App. What's my Cash App? It's $ LA Bluegrass, I think. If you want to donate, do that. I need to put that on the bottom of this. This is all I got. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Bring 2, 3, 4, 5, bring 6, 7 friends. Have them follow your boy. I'm at a certain amount. I don't know what I'm at. I need to get to 10,000 followers on Twitter. That's almost impossible. I know it is, but I'm putting it out in the atmosphere, in the universe. I'm trying to get to 10,000 followers. Whatever that number is, it's somewhere around 3,000, a little less, a little more. I'm just putting out in the universe. I need to get to 10K. Wednesday, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune into the Locker 411 with myself and Anthony White. Other than that, y'all, start tweeting like Vince. That's funny.